What is up, YouTubers, gamers, and hobbyists? Welcome to Chill with Pete, the coffee break catch-up series that you put on in the background whilst we catch up over the week's events, life, hobby, anything I can think of. Just chill out. It is literally a coffee break session. I like to keep them around 20 minutes, although sometimes they go 25 to 30 minutes. It depends on how long it takes me to finish my coffee, to be honest. Sometimes I have tea or other beverages. I do actually have coffee today though. And I got to put my teeth in. Words aren't coming out right. But yeah, so I have coffee. Raring to go. And it is now officially the start of my holiday. Another week off. Yes! And it's proving to be a good week weather-wise. Excellent. I'm gesturing that way because the sun is coming here. I do have blinds up, which is why, you can sort of see variations. I don't know. I don't know if that's any better or not. It might be, or not. But it's a lovely blue sky anyway, and that's the main thing. Now, I have finished playing through the Citadel of Chaos, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The classic. I won't talk about my findings or anything. Suffice to say, I said on these fighting fantasy books, I'm just going to play them once, maybe twice if I die immediately. I ended up playing it through 5 times. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to know why or what happened, then go to that video when it comes out. Check that one out. Anyway, so got a lot of work coming for my job, my day job, and that's ramped up now. So I've got lots of work ahead of me, lots of work to do, which is great because I know exactly what I'm doing. I go in, log on every day, and I just get right involved with it, which is good. I'm wondering whether I should have had a cold drink, not a hot drink, but I don't know. I just fancy chilling out with a coffee. I've got a little fan in this room now, just wafting the air around. It does do something. It has a effect, even if it is minimal. It has an effect. It does, and it's not like a lot of people say, just moving hot air. Right? It isn't. It blows against you. So if you blow on yourself, it cools that area down. It moves the air around more. I do shut the door to this room, purely for recording purposes, like sound and so on. Hope you like my Quince Shark Charter t-shirt. I do like this t-shirt. It's classic Jaws, isn't it? So yeah, so I've had a bit of a hobby week. What we're playing through the Citadel of Chaos, and I ordered myself a miniature. It's a villager girl. It's a 3D printed one. She does come with a base and some sandpaper, obviously resin. So I'll need to clean that one up a bit. Obviously not wanting to increase the miniatures I've got on my desk. I mean, to be honest though, I've got a lot of Romans on there, but as I say, to be honest, they can be batch painted for the most part. So that is good. And I don't think it'll take that long to get them done. I think the longest part of it, probably, I don't know, might be the basing. Getting that done and then dry brushed and ready to go, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But they're all built, primed. They got their skin on now, and some have got some metallics, their belcher, and so on. And yeah, so that's good. I'm gonna be brave and take a sip of this coffee now. Quite warm. Oh, I've ordered myself some new cheapy artist's brushes, like craft brushes, just for the glooping out of the paint pots mixing. I've never been comfortable with the idea of using my good brushes for that, so I tend to not do that. I'd rather use a stick or the back of, turn the brush upside down and use a stick for that if I had to. A brush is better though, it mixes better, I think. What else hobby wise? Is there anything else hobby wise? I've been I put up a couple more videos on one of my other YouTube channels, Pete's Media Reviews, reviewing a few movies lately. I put up one of Carry On Screaming, the John Carpenter's The Thing, and I've just not long put up a review of A Fistful of Dollars. The first in the trilogy of Dollars movies by Sergio Leone, with Clint Eastwood. So that's up there. I've got the other two, A Few Dollars More and Good, Bad, and Ugly. They're gonna got all been filmed. Just need to edit the videos footage into some semblance of a production worthy video. So I'll be doing that as well. I'm looking forward to doing some painting, even if it is just bits and pieces on the Romans. Like I say, I can batch paint when it comes to things like shields and that. If I'm putting individualistic colours on them, I won't be able to batch paint them, but that's okay. I've got a new box. I finished a box of ice cream, Walls ice cream, that I had for like over a year in the freezer. Finished that off the other day, washed it up, so that's another box I can keep miniatures in now, and I'll be keeping miniatures for my role-playing campaign in that. Once this desk is clear of miniatures, I'll clear it off temporarily. I'll put the brushes over there and the paint pots to one side, probably underneath, and I'll set it up ready for filming my RPG campaign, which will probably be D&D, at least to start with. God, my fingers are swelling. This heat take my wedding ring off for a bit. Yeah, probably D&D for a while. Then Castles and Crusades later. I'm hoping to do a bit of that. And Dragonbane. I'll probably do some of that as well at some point. So yes, all these things have been going on. I've been collecting the Fighting Fantasy books. Now I've got a dilemma with the Fighting Fantasy books as I'm collecting them. Because I'm reviewing them. Well, I'm not reviewing them like giving them scores or anything, but I'm giving my experience of playing through them. I'd like to do a list of my favourite through to my least favourite. Now, at the moment, as you would expect, my Fighting Fantasy books are in numerical order. But I'm thinking, it's just a thought, mind you. Do I put them in order of one I like better and then least? Because then if I like the next one better than the first one, that one goes at the front. And then I'll end up with my most favourite to my least favourite. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's a thought that's been going through my mind as well. I don't know anyone else's thoughts on that. I do need to do a list, and every so often I'll probably put it up on a screen on one of the videos, or I'll do an interlude video. Maybe after I'm thinking, because they came out, first of all, as a set of 3, and a set of 5, and then a set of 7, and then I think after that they just came out individually. So maybe after the first 3 are done, I might list them on screen, talk about that, and then the same when it gets to 5 and then 7. And then I'll probably have like benchmark numbers like 10 when I get to 10. Do the list again. I'll just have it on the screen, of these interlude ranking video. I expect I will call it Fighting Fantasy ranking video. That makes sense. What else? I baked pasties yesterday. First time in years, and you know what? I haven't forgotten a single thing. it's like riding a bike, it really is. And I didn't have difficulty, but I had difficulty not difficult. It took me a little bit longer to find a certain ingredient for the baking process than it should have done. The other ingredients, which are quite basic anyway, but I was struggling finding margarine, baking margarine, without palm oil. That's not good, is it? I did manage to find one with, but was palm oil free, because I can't abide palm oil in anything. It tastes wrong. It makes the product taste different. I don't care what anybody says. Doesn't taste very nice, not compared to butter and cream. So anything with palm oil in, I don't buy. I don't touch it with a barge pole. But I managed to find it. I made the dough, made the pasties. I had a little bit of dough left over, so I made cheese and onion, a couple of cheese and onion ones, which I've eaten since now. Yes, Mrs. Minnie Warzone had one, I had the other. They're only little ones. But I tried them out. Mrs. Minnie Warzone went to Exeter yesterday after work. And said it was very hot. It was like 34 there at one point. Oh, that's hot. That's very hot. And I spent the day probably equally as hot in the kitchen baking. And it brought back memories, not just about baking pasties' sake. So that's what I used to do for a job when I was younger. And it was one of the hardest jobs I've ever had to do in my life. I can hand on heart say that unequivocally, one of the hardest jobs physically I've ever had to do. I mean, I think it would be nothing during the summer to lose a couple stone. The summer, free summer months. Oh, the sweat just used to run out of you. I remember going down a couple of sizes in my clothes when I worked there. None of my clothes was fit anymore. I had to get belts, tighten them up, put extra holes in the belts, all that kind of stuff. Shirts were hanging off me. I know, looking at me now, you wouldn't believe it, right? But yesterday was so hot in that kitchen, the condition just reminded me of being in the bakery again, and the smell. I must have got that dough mixture just right. There's a certain smell when I smell dough and pastries when they're made. I mean, they're mostly made these days, I think, with butter for homemade baking, for cakes and things. It doesn't smell quite the same as the margarine did. But I was there, it just transported me back, what, 30, 40 years, into the past, 30 odd years into the past, and I was back again in Ron Dooney Bakeries. That's who I worked for, Ron Dooney. Not Ivor, Ron. Ron did the best ones because they were bigger, not as spicy, not as, didn't have too much pepper in them. And they're bigger, you got more for your money. I think it was, they had a good business model there because they didn't go out of their way to be fancy for many years. That happened later on. And that was my idea as well. I'll talk about that in a sec. Just basic meat, onion and potato pasties, which the dockyardies loved and the local residents loved. And it was a good business model, worked for many, many years. When I worked there, and I kind of worked my way up into a supervisory position, so I started off as like a baker, lowly baker. And I came up with the idea of let's do some fancy. Why don't we try out some fancy flavors like curry pasties and beef and Guinness and pork and apple and all that. And we tried them, and they were successful as well. They went down very well. But ultimately, the business went out of business because the boss started sleeping with the Saturday girl, and then his marriage broke up, and then he married the Saturday girl, and then that marriage broke up. End of Ron Dooney's. End of an institution, if you ask me. Probably for the better, though. The working conditions weren't great. But I've retained the knowledge, the recipes, etc. in my brain. And whilst I can still remember them, I can still make the products. And so that's what I did yesterday. I made a batch of pasties, which will last a few days, probably just long enough. If there is any waste, it won't be a lot, I don't think. Just keeping them in the fridge now. Just have one a day, and we'll be fine. Don't eat much else during the day at the moment in this heat. Sorry, I'll say that again. Don't eat much else. I don't eat much else at the moment in this heat. So a pasty when I get hungry is not too bad, especially those. Right, so what's going to be happening today? Well, I'm hoping to film the Citadel of Chaos review today. And I'm hoping to do a YouTube channel shout out as well for the person I saw that's been doing these. I thought about doing Fighting Fantasy reviews or playthroughs for a while, years. But I can't claim to be the first to do it because other people do it. This other channel has been doing it before. He's been doing it before me, so fair play to him. Now, I have taken his channel and I enjoy the content, so I'm going to do a shout out. Because I suppose largely he inspired me to get my finger out my ass and do what I was going to set out to do with Fighting Fantasy. I mean, he's going to do all sorts of gaming books, I suspect. I probably won't deviate from Fighting Fantasy myself. And I don't know how far I'll go. There's quite a few bad ones that came out, and they're a slog to get through. But if it gets me some content, I can at least tell people about it. And it's a nostalgia trip for me. And you guys know what a sucker I am for anything nostalgic. I just love it. So, let's have some more coffee a minute. How are your projects going? Are they all right? What you're working on at the moment? What you're playing at the moment? Have you got any games coming up in the near future? And if so, what? And are you ready for it? So yeah, there's a few questions for you to be getting on with, isn't it? You can do that. I've got to tidy away some of the stuff on my gaming table. And I'm probably going to put away one of my microphones at some point. I don't know. Not this one. Obviously, this is attached to the desk, but this is a different kettle of fish. So I tend to do all these type of podcasty type videos now using this microphone, and I'm getting quite good results with that. So I'll probably stick with that. We're up to 18 minutes now. So see, time does fly, and I haven't drunk enough coffee. So. Don't think there's much else to tell you. Hopes and dreams. I'm still working on this section of wall here. I put another layer of plaster on it the other day. I brought some sandpaper up to start sanding it down. I'm going to do it by hand. I have an electric sander, but I want to do it by hand. Crazy, isn't it? It's like I've got airbrushes and I like to prime by hand. I don't know. I like to be close to that which I'm working with. I don't know. I'm just nutty like that. I'm nuts, I like to be intimate with any projects I'm working on and see all the nooks and crannies, see what's what, and get going with that. Yeah, so that was yesterday. Finished work. Got my pasties going. Dylan was very intrigued by it all, but too hot to be bothered at the same time. And the poor boy, neither of my boys enjoying this heat. Lucian's seeking the coolest corner of the house. Dylan's going from one place to the other, he's got a fan in the kitchen. He's got a cooling mat, And of course, we don't take him out in the heat. We go out in the morning, first thing when we get up. It's about 6 o'clock this morning, which is a bit later than usual, but it was quite comfortable then. So that's what we do. Tomorrow when we get up, we'll probably take him to Blackberry Camp. Drive out to Blackberry Camp, give him a good walk there and under trees, which is nice and cool, isn't it? So that should be fine for him. And then he's got a good walk to kind of reminisce over during the rest of the day. And he likes sofa time after dinner anyway. You just sit on the sofa under the fan, and in front of him, I've got a stand-up tower fan as well. So he's got that going on also. And it's going to be good today. He's downstairs with Mrs. Minnie Warzone at the moment. And when he has his dinner, he'll be going into the front room, and they'll probably watch stuff on the TV whilst I carry on doing whatever I'm doing up here. Whether that's filming like this, and or painting, and I'm hoping to do a bit of anything. I'm really hoping I can get an on the beach video out there. I haven't done one in a while. Well, if I miss a week, that's a while for me. If I miss 2 weeks, that's quite a while, and I forget after that. It's like, I don't know. It's just been too long. The last video I filmed, paint along video, became corrupt, so I couldn't use it. So I don't sweat it anymore like I used to in the old days with my videos. If they come out, great. If they don't, they don't. It's not worth stressing over, so I don't. And that's the way it is. Okay, this is cooling down rather nicely now. Seagulls are out. Sun is beating down, a hot sun. And the sound of the seagulls is just like, it's very summery here. I love it. I love the sound of summer, seagulls with sun streaming through the window. Oh, it's beautiful. And being in here in this room is just so peaceful. It really is a place of zen for me. My own little zen garden without being in a garden, I've got the window open as well, a fraction at the top. Well, I say a fraction, I mean about that. Could open it more, I suppose. I installed a new lock on the downstairs bathroom today because that broke the other day, and it's like Victorian house, so things like that start to wear out after a while. It wasn't fixable. So managed to find the best modern equivalent I could and put that in. You can get like Victorian locks, sash locks, and that original ones like been restored and that, but God, they're so expensive. I thought, you know what? I'll just get a lock that works and looks okay, and that's what I've done. What else? I'm waiting for other things like that to start failing, as it were, and that might happen. Oh yeah, I was talking about this plaster. I put another layer of plaster on the wall, so I'm going to sand it down then, seal it in with some PVA, watered down PVA. Put a base primer on it, and or 2 or 3. And then we'll see about maybe some pictures or poster there. I know I've got to do this side as well, yeah, but one step at a time, I say. We'll see how we get on with that, I think. I really don't think there's much else. I've told you about work. Well, that's getting busy. And I'm off next week. So there's a couple of other people, I think. So, it's not like my work will be building up like a backlog, so that's good. Oh, I finished, by the way, so that means it's time to draw the video to a close. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I've told you pretty much everything that's going on at the moment. I love doing these chills, and I'll hopefully see you on another video. Bye for now, my friends. Bye bye.